The APD has had to reduce its number of property crimes detectives in half. A common understanding of those in the criminal justice system is that often people associated with thefts and burglaries are engaging in the behavior to help support illegal drug habits. What are your views of the overall effects property crimes have on our community?
Starting my timer. So my background is that I started about 10 years ago working with the Alaska State Troopers, and for the last 4.5 years I've been helping to support APD. Clearly, I think we all agree that property crimes are an indicator of things that are going on in the community. You know, it's just kind of a first view into some of the problems that we're having. I certainly agree that APD could continue to place emphasis and resources on those kinds of property crimes to make sure that they're really keeping track of that front-end indicator. I think that one of the things that APD does well is that they do track data and publish it online, and if people aren't aware of some of those resources, they should go out and take a look at it. But I don't think that that information is actually being used to make good decisions about where resources should be deployed. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Domestic and sexual violence disproportionately impacts the Alaska Native community in Anchorage. First, please describe your understanding of why rates of violence are higher in this community. Then describe how, as mayor, you would partner with Alaska Native leaders to identify solutions to this issue.
Sure, thank you. So, when I started working for the Alaska State Troopers, that was the first time that I really got visibility into the extent of the problem. Clearly, it's a huge statewide problem. In part, it's a major problem in Anchorage because we are the center of the state. There's so much, traffic between Anchorage and the rest of the state. It's often when we look at the nature of the problem here, there has been way too much focus, I think, at times on kind of the chronic inebriation piece of this, which is a small but visible factor in all of this. I think one of the other candidates talked a little bit about how much the high cost of housing, homelessness, the lack of good paying jobs, a working wage. I think those are all important factors that contribute to the larger problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. There is a lack of detox and associated substance abuse treatment in Anchorage. There is a strong correlation between substance and alcohol abuse and incidents of violence. A significant portion of violent crimes in Anchorage have alcohol or drugs involved. The cost of first response and incarceration could possibly be reduced if detox, assessment, and treatment services were provided to at-risk individuals. Do you support funding the creation of additional detox and substance abuse treatment facilities in Anchorage?
I do. And at the AFACT meeting a couple weeks back, I learned a little bit more detail about some of the background. It's been very interesting to find that, for example, part of the reason why there are so few beds in this town, detox beds, is that basically we have chosen not to fund that for the last 15 years. So the municipality, if you look at multiple administrations, multiple assemblies, it has not been a priority. Under me, that would be a priority. It's also not just about funding beds, but it's the after treatment programs. You have to look at the whole spectrum. All of this sounds like it could be expensive, but one of the themes I've been talking a lot about in my campaign is my experience is about reducing the cost of government. And so I've been recognized by the current mayor as a director who, for the last 3 years, has come in under budget and performed well fiscally. There is a lot of fat in city government. And if we can cut that out, the money is there to fund these kinds of things. It's not like we have to go and find other new money. There's plenty of money in city government.
Thank you. The APD has had to eliminate or reduce several special investigative sections, including the Drug Investigations Unit, the Special Assignment Unit, and the Street Level Crimes Unit. Please tell us your view on what, if any, impact this has had on the recent increase in violence in our community.
So it's definitely had an impact. I'm actually going to branch off this question a little bit because there are two things I want to talk about briefly. One is that when you actually talk to cops and find out what their concerns are, And I would encourage everybody here to go and do a ride around with APD or even Wasilla PD. What you keep finding out is that they go out and they catch the bad guys, and then they're out on the street, you know, days or weeks later. You drive around, they can point out, they can recognize all the people who've been brought in and let out. So first of all, getting control of that by working together with some of the, you know, there's been a lot of focus on just APD, but there are partners. There's a community of people out there. There's the court system, there's corrections, there's a health department, and really it takes the whole team to really impact the problem. I'll save the second part of this for a next question. Thank you.
What role do you think education plays in youth-perpetuated violence?
Well, sometimes there's negative education, so learning things that we'd probably prefer you didn't learn. I'm going to just jump off for a second and say a little bit, addressing the question about about whether or not the police force reflects the community. I think we have a very, very professional police force, and I think they do a great job out there. I think the real issue is that when they're very understaffed, it creates a lot of stresses in the community, and then some of these questions start to come out that wouldn't normally come out. In terms of education, I can just tell you from personal experience, I've raised a son who is a nephew because of family situations. I think many of us get exposed to those situations. And, you know, sometimes what you have to do is just spend a lot of hands-on time, you know, helping people to unlearn some of the things that they've learned. And I think it just takes personal involvement from all of us in the community to address some of that. Thank you.